Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Here I am once again with another Community Steel episode. And you're going to catch some fine tanks today as we're going to kick off today's episode with the Challenger II Black Knight from World at War 21. This is weighs in at 65.65 tons. Well, obviously armed with the proper 120 millimeter main gun. Has 229 millimeters of penetration for the late war period. Now there is a couple snippets here. The turret traverse speed I know is definitely edit as well as the reload speed. Honestly, the traverse speed is ridiculously fast, even for a Challenger 2. Actually, this thing's probably faster than an M1 Abrams, like an M1A1. I don't know, I served on one. How about that? I had a lot of problems getting the gun trained on things because of the turret traverse. The gun depression. But other than that, the vehicle's actually rather good. Reload speed's good. The gun sight could probably use a bit of stabilization, but yeah. I mean, it looks like a Challenger 2 Black Knight, so yeah, I guess we got that going for it at least. Oh, and I got penetrated in the butt. Yeah, something sneak up and shot me in the butt. Not cool. All right, the next vehicle. We have the Type 100 Hen from German Train. German Train, it's been a while. Here we go. What we got today. 34-ton tank for the late war period with a 110 millimeter main gun. 129 millimeters of penetration. And the armor on this, in my opinion, is rubbish. The speed needs a bit of work on it too. It's really speed and armor wise, it's got nothing really going for it. That being said, it's got a really small round teacup shaped turret with actually really good gun depression. So I don't know how he pulled that one off, because I've seen people with turrets 4 times the size this thing has and have no gun depression. Beats me. So, and that being said, the gun actually is rather effective. It's not super special, really good short range gun. The gun lane speed could be worked on a little bit more, but all in all, it's not a bad looking vehicle, just needs a bit more work. A little bit of tweaking here and there, and you could really get this thing going, working really well. All right, the next one we have here is from Coast 05. And this is his ARL 41. And I can see why I called it an ARL 41 because, well, it looks like an ARL 44 built in 1941 with a different gun. Weighs in at 32 tons, has a 47 millimeter main gun with 67 millimeters of penetration for the early war period. Mobility is, well, it's pretty mediocre, but it works for a heavy tank, especially like an infantry support type tank. The 47 millimeter main gun, even though it's got a really good reload, it just doesn't have enough penetration. It definitely needs more penetration. As you can see here, I am actually fighting off against early war Shermans, and I am struggling armor-wise. It actually does fairly well armor-wise. I can't really knock the armor. Now, I'm sure if you upgraded this to mid-war or even late war, mid-war, it would probably be okay-ish. Late war, forget about it. I'm sure this thing would just get rolled over. But then again, late war, we're looking at some much bigger guns, such as 120, 122 millimeter guns, 88 millimeter long barrel, you know, the 90 millimeter anti-tank gun, etc., etc. So I can't judge it on those ends. The armor does work, though. All right, the next vehicle is also from Coast. That's with a C, by the way, folks. Like Ghost with a C. 05. And this is his A33 Excelsior II. I actually kind of like the concept of this. So essentially what you have here is you have an Excelsior, same turret design, same hull design, but crammed into it is a 17-pounder gun. I really like that. And also, that being said, Coast even took the time to make the gun cutout proper for a British vehicle. I was ecstatic actually when I seen that, because that's not something most people do that I've seen do Sprocket vehicles. They normally just do the square hole type gun mantlet and call it a day. This thing weighs in at 52 tons, has the 17 pounder gun, and it's got 161 millimeters of penetration for the mid-war period. The gun actually works pretty damn good. You know, it's a 17 pounder. It does the job. Probably could use maybe a little bit more penetration, as the gun might not have enough pen when you get to, if you want to play this in a late war scenario. Armor wise, armor works for the most part for the stuff you're going to go up against in the mid-war period, except for some of the bigger stuff like the Tiger is going to give this thing problems. A Cane Tiger will easily give this thing problems. Same way with an IS-3. But I mean, this vehicle, it's an infantry support vehicle, infantry support tank, and assault type tank. It's not really designed with the idea of going head to head with an IS-3, if you will. The next vehicle I have is the M18A6E2 from Daewoo Chino. And it weighs in at 26 tons, armed with a 90 millimeter main gun, and has 160 millimeters of penetration. This is for the mid-war period, and this thing is ridiculously fast. The hull reminds me a lot of the Hellcat, but the turret design is definitely not a Hellcat turret. Either ways, pretty cool design overall, very fast moving, gun works great. Reload speed's a little slow, but hey, you know what? It's what you get with a 90 millimeter main gun. You take the good with the bad. Penetration seemed good, accuracy seemed good, velocity seems pretty good. So it all handles pretty well there. Armor-wise, the armor actually holds up pretty good. I'm actually going up against my M8A1 gun motor carriages, and those are armed with 3-inch anti-tank guns, and they could not pen this thing. So it did really well there on that end. So yeah, I'll give them credit for where credit's due. The armor's decent, at least decent enough against the average gun that's probably going to go up against. It might struggle against some of the bigger guns that are out there, like the 88. All in all, not bad. And the final tank I have for you today is the medium tank Model 38 from Cat, actually Pigeon. Yes, folks, that's his name. He's actually a pigeon. And this is his 13.4 ton tank for the early war period, armed with a 37 millimeter main gun, and has 68 millimeters of penetration. Penetration wise, the tank is good. Speed wise, the tank is solid. Gun depression wise, accuracy wise, all that is actually really solid. I mean, this thing does get up and go. The armor is decent. It's nothing to write home to mom about. You're not going to bounce every single thing shot at you, but it will bounce shots. The thing I'll give this credit for is it looks very reminiscent of like an actual Panzer III, but the turret is definitely different. It's almost like it's some type of prototype Panzer III is what he had in mind when he was putting this thing together. Let's roll up over the hill here. We'll try to get this shot. There we go. And apparently that's already dead, and I didn't know that. But yeah, so there it is, folks. That is this episode of Community Steel. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the selection of vehicles I have here for you today. And hopefully I'll see y'all again for the next episode of Community Steel.